Hello everyone, welcome to our channel ITLS Academy at YouTube. So today we'll study about the nutrition that is required in neurological conditions. Beginning with our lecture, the first problem that comes in neurological condition is your multiple sclerosis. So let's understand. Multiple sclerosis is a chronic disease that affects the central nervous system, especially that covers your brain area, spinal cord, and along with the optic nerves. The damage is caused to the myelin sheath surrounding your nerves, thus impairing the conduction of impulses. The condition varies from a relapsing remitting pattern up to 80% of the patient to a progressive form that may be fatal within a few years. And its implication relates to first the cause of the condition and its progression, and third the management of neurological symptoms that arises due to this problem. So multiple sclerosis, as I told, it is a chronic disease that affects your central nervous system, affecting your brain, spinal cord, and optic nerves. So the immune system attacks your myelin sheath, which is a protective layer around your nerve fiber, and this causes inflammation and scars in the tissue or lesions. This make it hard for your brain to send any signal to the rest of your body. That is why the proper organs could not receive the proper messages, proper response towards any action. The condition varies from relapsing remitting 80% to a progressive form of maybe fatal within a few years. So this is what the multiple sclerosis is. Next is, there are generally 4 types of multiple sclerosis. So first is clinically isolated syndrome. That is, this is a single first episode with symptoms lasting for 24 hours, and if another episode occurs at a later date, a doctor will diagnose relapse remitting time that occurs in multiple sclerosis. Next type is your relapse remitting MS, multiple sclerosis. So this is the most common form, affecting around 85% of the people with multiple sclerosis. So in this, our relapse remitting involves the episode of new or increasing symptoms that is followed by a period of remission, and during which symptoms go away partially or totally. Third category of this is primary progressive multiple sclerosis. So in this, symptoms get worsened progressively and without early relapses or remissions. So some people may experience time of stability and period when the symptoms worsen and then get better. In this, around 15% of the people with multiple sclerosis have this type of multiple sclerosis, that is primary progressive MS. The last one is your fourth type, is secondary progressive multiple sclerosis. So at first people will experience the episode of relapses and remissions, but then the decrease will start to progress steadily. So what happens, as in multiple sclerosis, the damage is caused to your myelin sheath. The damage is caused to the myelin sheath surrounding the nerves, thus impairing the conduction of impulses. So the genetic susceptibility and environmental factor have been implicated. Dietary factors include an association between a high prevalence of multiple sclerosis and an increased amount of saturated fat and decreased amount of polyunsaturated fatty acids intake. And also it is linked with a possible link of vitamin D status. The fatty acid hypothesis is interesting because myelin is composed of 70% of fatty acids, including a third of polyunsaturated. So at present the evidence is considered non-conclusive and further studies are needed on this topic. For this, it is recommended in nutrition that you should go for a linoleic acid. So here are some of the common symptoms that come across in the multiple sclerosis. Firstly is your muscles weakness happens in the patient. numbness and tingling of the eyes, Lhermitte signs, bladder problem, bowels problem, fatigue problem, dizziness and vertigo, spasticity and muscle spasm occurs, tremors occurs, vision problem occurs, gait and mobility changes, and also sometimes emotional changes, and patient may go to depression stage also. Next is your management of neurological symptoms. So fatigue, loss of balance, weakness and numbness, as I told, tingling and bladder problems are among most of the common symptoms that is experienced in the multiple sclerosis patient. So difficulty in swallowing is relatively uncommon except in the very late stage, but may have a profound impact on food intake and nutritional status. So for this, you can manage this condition by routine nutritional assessment will help to identify the patient whose nutritional intake is suboptimum before depletion result in clinical impairment. Practical support is important. For example, help with shopping or meal preparation may be sufficient to help this some patient normalizing their intake. Nutritional supplements may helpful to increase their nutrient intake and where sufficient food cannot be consumed. Overweight is common. 40% of the patient diagnosed 10 to 13 years and are related to reduced mobility and increased fatigue. So a moderate energy restricted diet that provides all other nutrients requirement is advisable. Constipation reported in approximately 40% may be elevated by increasing the fiber intake or drinking sufficient fluid that is greater than 2 liters per day. Swallowing difficulties should be evaluated by a speech and language therapist and dietitian with expertise in this area. And if an adequate nutritional intake cannot be maintained orally, then feeding via PEG may be helpful in improving the quality of the life. So these are the management points how you can treat the multiple sclerosis patient. But there are some alternatives also. Occurs also alternative diet for the patient who are suffering from multiple sclerosis. In this, patient with multiple sclerosis may be offered a variety of allegedly therapeutic diets through the popular press and other media. Some may include specific dietary restrictions that may compromise the adequacy of their nutrient intake. Other regimes involves the purchase of specific food items or supplements that are not prescribable and often expensive. At present, there is a little evidence to support dietary manipulation other than that described as I describe here. Patient may need advice about the potential harms and about the benefits associated with some alternative diet. So next problem comes your motor neuron diseases. So motor neuron disease are amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, that is a group of related progressive disorder involving the degeneration of the motor neuron and leading to muscle weakness and wasting. So it is a motor neuron disease that is a group of neurodegenerative clinical syndrome that is characterized by your neuronal death in motor cortex, brainstem and ventral horn of the spinal cord. So it is a common disease that is affect both in children and adult, while each motor neuron disease affects patient differently and they all causes the movement related symptoms. So mainly muscle weakness occurs in this, and most of these diseases seems to occur randomly without known cause, but some forms are inherited. So studies into these inherited forms have led to discoveries of various genes that are responsible or thought to be important in understanding these motor neuron diseases. So here are some of the sensory neurons, that is for example taste are not affected, but difficulty in chewing and swallowing may arise due to this problem. If we talk about the causes, so some of the symptoms of the motor neuron diseases can be first seen at the birth or can come on slowly later in the life. So most of the diseases get worsened over the time, while some, such as ALS, shortens one's life expectancy. Other do not. Currently, there are no approved treatment for the majority of the motor neuron disorders, and care is mostly symptomatic. So the cause is, firstly, if you talk about the dysphagia, in this the lip and tongue dysfunctions, palatal incompetence, and impaired swallow reflex, pharyngeal weakness, and reduced laryngeal elevation. Next is your arms get weakened, it dependence on other or to be fed. Social consequences such as difficulty in eating, excessive salivations may inhibit eating with other people. Next, let's talk about treatment. So let me tell you firstly that there is currently no such cure for the motor neuron diseases, and if you are going through a treatment, so the treatment aims to make the person feel comfortable and have the best quality of life as possible if you can give. Compensate, another priority is to compensate for the progressive loss of bodily functions such as mobility, communication, swallowing, and breathing. For example, a breathing mask can greatly help the symptoms of breathing and weakness, and feeding tube such as your gastrostomy helps to maintaining the nutrition and overall comfort. And if necessary, medication can be used to help to control the excess rolling, and a medication called the Riluzole has shown a very small improvement in patient and overall survival, but it isn't cure and does not stop the condition if it is in condition of progressing. So in treatment, the first point is assessment of nutritional status by a dietitian. So it is a process from starting of this course in nutrition. I'm continuously telling about the nutritional assessment. So nutritional assessment of any of the patient is very important. The assessment of nutritional status before the conduct adopted and is composed of the clinical history, anthropometric measurement, food history, and laboratory test. So here it includes your anthropometric parameter. What is this? Let me tell you. It is the weight, height, arm circumference, and tricipital skin fold, TSF, arm muscle circumference, and these are the measurements that are taken in this anthropometric parameters. Arm fat area and are the more anthropometric parameters are considered in this area, according to which the diet is recommended. And your according to that also your BMI index is conducted, on the basis of which the doctor or dietitian make your dietary plan. Food assessment is also included in this. So food anamnesis is evaluated of reminder. Obtaining a detailed dietary history target is the appropriate nutritional intervention through the individualized therapy through analysis of energy and intake of macro and micronutrients. This also includes your laboratory test, that is evaluation of swallow and appropriate texture of the diet by speech and language therapist and dietitian. Good coordination is essential, so it is the next step in the treatment. So I was talking about the laboratory test. The analysis of laboratory test is also makes up the nutritional evaluation when compared to the clinical signs. Clinical signs nutritional status can vary slowly, showing that biochemical analysis is valid. However, the result should be interpreted with the caution. So the biochemical data requested are lipid profile, what is the sodium quantity, potassium, serum iron, ferritin, transferrin, phosphorus, total protein and serum albumin fraction, and protein linked to retinol. So these all are the data that a person should go during any nutritional assessment for and when in going through the treatment of motor neuron diseases. Along with on the basis of this only, the dietary prescriptions is prescribed. The nutritional therapy applies to the ALS aims to supply the nutritional need for all the stages of disease's progression, minimize the protein catabolism, ensure oral feeding, and indicate early nutritional support. So generally, more fractionations, high calorie, high protein, and normolipidic, high fiber, nutrient unchanged, adequate water supply, and ideal consistency against dysphagia are characterized of the diet oriented treatment. So on the when the assessment is complete, your laboratory test, your BMI, body mass index, according to that, when the measurement is complete, the assessment process is complete, then only your diet plan is maintained. Third is your gastrostomy, insertion endoscopically or radiologically if. So the if condition arises when the person is not able to take their proper nutrition through the not proper nutrition orally. So motor neuron diseases in gastrostomy progresses. Problem with eating and drinking can get worse. So a procedure called gastrostomy may helpful in that condition when the person could not able to eat the food by mouth. So in a gastrostomy, a thin tube is inserted into your stomach from your abdomen, which means food and liquid can go directly into your stomach rather than having to be swallowed by your mouth. So your team should discuss about the problem that a patient is facing of motor neuron diseases, what the doctor advises and how they should take it. So in this, less than 10% of loss of body weight despite supplementation occurs, unsafe use for unsafe swallow, vulvar symptoms occurs, life expectancy increases for 3 months, and can be able to provide consent and manage feeds. Next is nutrition in MND, means what type of nutrition should be given in motor neuron diseases. So as we know, motor neuron disease, that is a disorder related to progressive disorder involving the degeneration of motor neuron and leading to muscle weakness, due to which the person may go to the condition of undernutrition, that is inadequate nutrient intake often leads to poor nutritional status. So this may further impair muscle function and is associated with decreased rate of survival. So seeing that thing in your mind, your dietitian makes a diet chart that includes first nutrition is your protein. So on the calculation, as I told, when you go for the treatment in the previous slide, as I told, when you go for the treatment, the first step is your assessment. So when your complete assessment is done, then now the step comes your management of your disease through the diet. So diet should consist of protein. The calculation of protein requirement is being offered, that is 1 gram to 1.2 gram protein per kg in a current weight date. So food intake source of high biological value protein should be highlighted, comprising the roughly 70% in total protein intake per day. Next constituent of your diet is your carbohydrate. So the diet is oriented normoglycidic, that is 50 to 60% of the total energy intake, and modified to hypoglycemic specifically for the patient with abnormal oxygen saturation. So for these cases, the energy supply must be maintained at the expense of liquid with high fat diet, that is greater than 35% of the total energy intake. The third constituent comes your lipids. So it is recommended ingesting 25 to 35% of the total energy intake, considering greater than 7% saturated fatty acids and greater than 10% polyunsaturated fatty acids and greater than 20% monounsaturated fatty acids. Next nutrient is your fiber. So the fiber intake gradually restricts itself in the course of the disease's worsening dysphagia. Cooking food is necessary for the suitable consistency limitation, ensuring that its consumption is not excluded from the diet. Adding cereal flours to the porridge, orange juice, papaya and dried pitted prunes, liquefied food, boiled and mashed vegetables and legumes cooked well are preparations easy to swallow and helps the intestinal transit. Last is your, along with these macronutrients, some comes your micronutrients. So micronutrients prescriptions follows the recommendation of dietary intake recommended according to the age and sex of the patient. Next, the third disease of neurological is your Parkinson's disease. So Parkinson's disease is a neurodegenerative disease that usually develops late in life and is characterized by the loss of dopaminergic neurons in the substantia nigra pars compacta, that is SNPCs. So most cases of Parkinson's disease are idiopathic since their causes are unknown. The genetic susceptibility and environmental factors that mediate the mitochondrial dysfunction, inflammation, abrogation of the autosomal, lysosomal, autophagy system and endoplasmic reticulum stress play a role in this disease development. So it is a chronic progressive neurological condition, that is the, as I told, neurodegenerative disease. It is associated with the older people. The mean age at onset is 55 years with a ratio of 1 in 10 people aged greater than 80 years are affected by this Parkinson's disease. Its symptoms including hypokinesis, that is the reduced movement and fatigue, rigidity, tremor, depression, can contribute to a poor food intake and impairs the nutritional status, particularly in the later stages. While there is no prescriptions for Parkinson's disease specific diet, to maintain overall good health, most people living with Parkinson's disease should eat a variety of whole grain, vegetables, fruit, milk and dairy products, protein-rich foods such as your meat and beans. Also, consider including nuts, olive oil, fish, egg to your diet for their beneficial fats. So, as it is told that this disease increases with the increase in ages and are very common. Along with this, the person may have certain type of problems in consideration with this Parkinson's disease. The patient may have the problem of constipation. So it may arise from a poor overall food intake, a decreased fiber diet as a result of texture modification or as a side effect of anti-Parkinsonian medication can be arises. Increasing dietary fiber and an adequate fluid intake is advisable in this condition if a patient is having this constipation problem. So fiber can be provided for the patient requiring a soft puree diet as oat, pureed or mashed fruits including the bananas, prurines and dates and thickened lentil type of soups. Next problem per patient may feel of weight loss will result from an inadequate intake, possibly as a result of declining the ability to go for the shop or prepare their own food and increasing the tremor that makes self-feeding difficult or swallowing difficulties. So weight loss can occur either of any of the problem. So an evaluation of the patient physical status and nutritional need will help to identify how to best address the undernutrition problem. Third problem comes your swallowing difficulties. This is common and occurs in up to 84% of the patient. Although in most they are relatively mild and do not impair food intake until a later stage. So the patient ability to swallow should be evaluated by a speech and language therapist and dietitian with expertise in this area to coordinate advice and appropriately textured diet. Next is your dry mouth. So in dry mouth, the condition may arise as a side effect of medication. Moist meals served with appropriate sauces may be helpful in this condition. Sharp flavor, for example lemon and grapefruit, may stimulate the saliva. Next is the nutrition in Parkinson's disease. So what type of nutrition should be given to the patient in Parkinson's disease? Firstly, you have to choose a diet with plenty of grain product, vegetables and fruit, which provides the vitamin, minerals, fiber and complex carbohydrate, can helpful in lowering your intake of food. Next is limit sugar intake. A diet with lots of sugar can have too many calories and too few nutrients. So it can also contribute to tooth decay also. Reduce salt and sodium intake to help decrease your risk of high blood pressure. Incorporate foods of high in antioxidant, which are important for overall brain health, into your diet, and these includes brightly colored and dark fruit vegetables. Balance the food you eat with physical activity. Choose a diet of low in fat, saturated fat and cholesterol to reduce your risk of heart attack and certain types of cancer, and to help you maintain a healthy weight. Maintain a healthy weight to reduce chances of high blood pressure, heart disease, strokes, certain cancers and common types of diabetes. Your doctor can help you to determine what a healthy high weight means for you. Drink alcoholic beverages in moderation, not too much in quantity, as they have empty calories and few nutrients. So drinking alcohol can cause many health problems and accidents, and it may not be advisable to mix certain medications with an alcohol, and check with your doctor. Let's talk about some of the medications and diet that are given during this condition, Parkinson's diseases, in patient. The medication such as the levodopa is a protein building block. This is the common medicine of levodopa that is given to the patient. So it competes for absorption with other protein. Taking levodopa with high protein meals such as meat and fish may reduce how much of drug gets into your system and how well a dose works. Next is your iron supplements. Iron supplements can decrease absorption of levodopa. If you take those, do so at least 2 hours before or after taking the first drug, that is the levodopa. Next is your fava beans contain the levodopa. So adding them to one's diet is an attractive idea. Unfortunately, the amount of levodopa in fava beans is uncommon, unlikely to minimal. Next drug comes your dopamine agonist. For example, it includes your pramipexole, ropinirole, rotigotine. Do not require any diet adjustment because you can take this medication anytime. MAO B inhibitor, that is rasagalin or siligalin, increases the tyramine, and combining them with food high in tyramine, usually aged cheese and curd meats, could raise blood pressure, and this food doesn't need to be eliminated from the diet altogether but should be eaten in moderation. Thank you for being with us. I hope you have understood all about the nutrition that is required in neurological disorders. For more information related to this, you can log on to our website www.itlsacademy.com and register yourself for the particular course. You can also follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp, LinkedIn, and yes, do not forget to subscribe our channel ITLS Academy at YouTube. Thank you.